Welcome back, you beautiful people, and in this lecture we're going to finish off the Hello You project, and you're going to have a cool new program that you can show your friends, and I'll bet you'll have a lot of fun with it. So in this lecture we're going to start off by seeing how we can combine pieces of text together using string concatenation. We're then going to learn how we can convert numbers into strings so they can be added into the text as well. And after that, we're going to look at how we can use Python's format function to do all of this conversion work for us and make it really easy to make elegant and highly complicated strings. And of course, we're going to finish off the Hello You project. So by the end of this lecture, you'll have all the skills you need to create text of any complexity in Python. Quite a lofty goal, so let's get into it. As you can see, I've gone ahead and taken a step back from our Python script and booted up the Python shell just so I can demonstrate to you a few of these concepts nice and easily without messing up our code. So the first thing I want to show you is how you can stick pieces of text together in Python. So let's say we have a string, a variable called a, which I'm going to set as the string part1. Actually, I'm going to put that all lowercase. And if I press enter, there we are, we've saved a. Let's say I have another string called b, and I'm going to call this part2. Now, how can I stick these pieces together? Well, the way that we do this is we use the addition operator, which if you remember in Python is just the plus symbol. That's right, plus the addition operator in Python isn't just for numbers, it's actually to add together two pieces of compatible data, which is why it's better to think of them as operators rather than just plus symbols. So anyway, if I type a plus b, then what you're going to see is part1, part2 get stuck together. Now, a fancy word for sticking strings together is called string concatenation. In this example, we have concatenated variable a and variable b. As a side note, it's even possible to multiply strings. You can't multiply a string with another string, but you can multiply strings with numbers. Let me show you what I mean. If I type a times 3, then you're going to see it says part1, part1, part1. Now this is really useful if you don't want to repeat yourself, because here we've got the contents of a printed 3 times. One particularly useful use for this is when you're creating menu systems and you just want like a nice underline. So you might type an equals sign and times that by 20, and you can see you get a row. So let's say if I did equals times 20, then I did like print title, then equals times 20. You can see that you can imagine having a header with some text inside, and you can have nice equal rows without having to type equals loads of times, right? So it's very useful if you want to save time repeating yourself. Now here's the interesting thing. If I just go ahead and close idle and then I open up it again, so idle in here, okay, and I define a as part and I define b as the number 1. Now watch what happens if I try to do a plus b. We get an error, right? And Python tells us it's a type error, and it says we can't convert int into strings implicitly. Basically, what this means is it couldn't stick together a string and a number. And it also, Python didn't convert the number into a string on its own. So this is because numbers and strings are incompatible data types. You can't really add them together. To make this work, we need to turn the number into a string. And the way that we can do this is using the str function, which you can see has gone purple, so you know we've got it right. So if I did a plus str of b, that's going to convert this 1, it's going to convert 1 into like 1. Okay, you can see the difference there. This is what it's doing. It's taking 1 and converting it into a string which contains 1. And then it's adding that to part. And what we'll see is it comes up part1. So that's something to bear in mind. Numbers and strings are not implicitly or they're not automatically compatible. You have to use the str function to make them compatible. Now this string concatenation business is all cool, but it's a bit long-winded, right? I mean, imagine if we had parts A, B, C, D, E, and F. I mean, that's a lot of plus symbols, and it's not very flexible. There must be a better way, right? Well, there is, and it's called the Python format function. So how does the format function work? Well, the way that it works is that you create a string that works kind of like a template. So let me just show you. So let's say I put a placeholder there and a placeholder there. So these pairs of squiggly brackets are placeholders for some data, and we can choose what data goes in that place. So, and the way that we do that is we write the string, then type .format and choose what we want to go in each place. So if I put A and B, we'll see what comes up, part 1. So A went in the first placeholder and B went in the second placeholder, and it combined it all as a string. Now the very interesting thing about this is we didn't have to do this strb here. We just had to put B, which was initially a number. So the very interesting thing about this is format will format whatever data you put in here into a string, okay, and put it in the places that you like. But what if I wanted, say for example, B to go here and A to go here? Well, the most obvious thing I could do is I could change B and A, but that's a bit that's a kind of a bit of a hassle as this gets longer, you know, if you've got C, D, E and F. But what you might want to do is you put A and B, and then inside here you actually put numbers. So you put 1 and 0. The numbers start from 0 and they count up, and they refer to the things here. So A would be 0, B would be 1, C would be 2, D would be 3, and so on. So now when I run this, we see it says 1-part, because 1 is B and B went in there, and 0 is A and A went in there. So you've got some flexibility about how you can control the result. So now that we know all about string formatting and string concatenation and converting between different data types, let's go ahead and finish off our project. I'm going to go down here and open up our hello-u.py file. Now in here, we just need to create some kind of text. So let's create a string called string, and this is going to contain the base text, where basically the template for our message. And what it's going to do, we're going to have equals, and then we're going to create our string. And it's going to be in the form, your name is blank, and you are blank years old. You live in blank, and you love blank. Now, the output string is going to be that string formatted with the first blank as their name, the second blank as their age, the third blank as their city, and the fourth blank as their love. So what's going to happen is it's going to take string, which is all of this, and it's going to format, name's going to go in there, age is going to go in there, city is going to go in there, and love is going to go in there. So finally, the last thing we need to do is just to print out the output string to the screen. Just like that. So if I save and run this, it's going to ask me my name. Let's say my name is Ziad, which it is. How old are you? 23. What city do you live in? Nottingham. And what do you love doing? Teaching Python. So when I do that, it's going to say your name is Ziad and you are 23 years old. You live in Nottingham and you love teaching Python, which is fantastic, right? I mean, that's pretty much exactly it. Honestly, you don't need to meet me in real life. That's all you need to know. So wow, I mean, we've pretty much finished the project. We've now got a program which will ask a user for pieces of information. We can store that information in certain variables. We have now been able to stick in those values at any point in our text and format the text how we would like, and produce that and print it to the screen for the users in a customized message. So spot on. That's pretty much the end of that, to be fair. That's the end of that project. We've got quite a few things coming up next. We're going to one amazing thing about strings is that you can slice and dice them and take certain pieces and move it around. So we're going to be learning how to slice text and come on to build an email slicer project, which is going to be super cool. So make sure you check that out. But first of all, before we get onto that, we've got a couple of coding challenges to test what you've learned. And when you finish them, I'll see you in the next video for some super string methods. But be sure to share this project with your friends, and I'm sure you can have some fun filling in the blanks, right? So I'll see you in the next video, and take care. That's all then.